Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when heaven leans in a little closer. A moment when the invisible hand of God begins to stir the atmosphere around you. You can't see it with your eyes, but your spirit begins to feel it. Something is shifting. Something is coming. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice the signs. There are moments in life when everything around you looks the same, but something within you starts to feel different. You wake up with a strange sense of urgency or discomfort, not because something is wrong, but because something is shifting. This inner restlessness is often misunderstood, but it is a powerful signal that God is preparing you for a new season, especially one involving divine love. When God is about to bless you, particularly with the kind of love that comes from Him, He begins by stirring your spirit. This restlessness is not anxiety or confusion. It's a spiritual awakening that disrupts the normal to make room for the extraordinary. It's His way of making sure you don't settle for less when He's preparing to give you more. This divine stirring may lead you to question things that never bothered you before. Relationships that once felt comfortable start to feel distant. Activities that once brought you joy begin to feel empty. The conversations that used to excite you now feel dull. That's not because anything external has changed. It's because your spirit is no longer aligned with your old season. God uses this inner shift to gently but firmly nudge you out of complacency. He allows discomfort to build so that you don't cling to what's familiar when He's trying to move you into what's destined. In this season, many try to fight the restlessness. They label it as discontent or impatience. They try to silence it with business, distractions, or temporary pleasures. But no matter how much you try to suppress it, the feeling lingers. That's because this restlessness is divine. It's meant to disrupt your normal rhythm so you can be alert and open to the change that's coming. It's God's way of clearing emotional and spiritual clutter so you can receive the love He has planned for you. Sometimes He has to unsettle your present so you can recognize His future. Restlessness also deepens your dependence on God. When you don't understand why you feel unsettled, you're drawn into prayer. You seek answers, clarity, and peace. That pursuit draws you closer to the heart of God. And in that place of intimacy, He begins to prepare you for what's next. He purifies your heart, heals your wounds, and renews your perspective. What you thought was frustration is actually formation. What you felt as chaos is actually construction. He's building something in you before He brings someone to you. The presence of restlessness is not a sign to fear, but a sign to focus. It means God is active in your life, orchestrating something beyond your current view. It is the quiet alarm of the soul, awakening you to readiness. It is the holy discomfort that pushes you out of past versions of yourself so you can make space for the love, growth, and purpose He is about to release into your life. Separation is often one of the most painful yet purposeful tools God uses in preparing us for the blessings He intends to pour into our lives. When it comes to love and divine relationships, God is not casual. He is intentional. And before He sends the right person into your life, He often removes what isn't meant to stay. These moments of separation can feel like rejection, abandonment, or confusion. But beneath the emotional H lies divine strategy. God doesn't allow loss without purpose. He clears out the distractions, the counterfeits, and the temporary attachments so that space can be made for the real, lasting connection He has prepared for you. Many times, we become so emotionally entangled with people who were only meant to be lessons, not lifetimes. We get comfortable in unhealthy patterns, mistaking familiarity for fulfillment. But God, in His mercy, begins to intervene. He will allow relationships to fade, communication to break down, or conflicts to rise. Not to hurt you, but to awaken you. What feels like things falling apart is actually God pulling you away from what no longer fits the season you're stepping into. He is not being cruel. He is being kind. Separation is protection. It's preparation. It's positioning. When God begins to disconnect you from people or relationships, it's a sign that your calling is shifting. The people who walked with you in one chapter may not have the character or capacity to walk with you in the next. They may have been perfect for your past, but they are not aligned with your future. And if you continue to hold on to what God is removing, you risk missing what He is trying to bring. The process hurts, but the purpose heals. Every person removed is making room for someone chosen. Someone who doesn't just see your surface, but understands your soul. Someone who aligns with your purpose, values your presence, and reflects God's love in action. In the silence that follows separation, clarity is born. You begin to see the truth of people's intentions. You realize what you were settling for. You recognize the red flags you once ignored. And slowly, you come to appreciate the divine hand that orchestrated the exit. You no longer beg for what left. You bless it and move forward. Because now, you understand that God doesn't take without intending to give. He doesn't empty your heart just to leave it hollow. He prepares it to be filled with what truly matters. This is not just about romance. It's about alignment. The right connection doesn't just fill a void. It elevates your life. It draws you closer to God, not away from Him. It adds peace, not confusion. It speaks life into your dreams, not doubt. And before you can receive this connection, separation must first do its work. It must cleanse the space of all that is counterfeit so that what is authentic can finally enter and remain. As you grow spiritually, something powerful begins to happen within you. Your standards begin to rise. It's not about becoming arrogant or unapproachable, but about finally recognizing your worth through the eyes of God. What you once accepted, tolerated, or chased begins to lose its grip on you. The attention that once excited you no longer satisfies. The shallow conversations and surface-level connections that used to occupy your time now feel draining. That shift is not random. It's a reflection of spiritual maturity. As your relationship with God deepens, your understanding of love, value, and purpose transforms. You no longer measure your worth by the world's standards, but by God's truth. Rising standards mean you've begun to prioritize alignment over attraction. You no longer look for someone just to fill a void. You look for someone who reflects the values and vision God has placed inside of you. You desire more than chemistry. You seek character. You're not just interested in how someone looks or what they do, but who they are at the core. Does this person honor God? Do they live with integrity? Do they speak life, lead with love, and carry peace? These are the questions that begin to matter because you've grown out of superficial expectations and into spiritual discernment. This growth also means you stop settling for temporary comfort. You refuse to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's brokenness. You no longer chase people who are unsure about you. You stop begging for validation from those who don't recognize your value. Not because you think you're better than them, but because you finally believe you're worth more than inconsistency, confusion, or emotional neglect. This kind of growth takes time. It takes heartbreak, healing, prayer, and patience. But when it comes, it's undeniable. You walk differently, speak differently, and choose differently. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. Your rising standards also act as a filter. They protect you from repeating old cycles. They prevent you from inviting in the same pain wearing a different face. You no longer tolerate dishonor, manipulation, or spiritual disconnect because you've come to understand that love without God at the center eventually crumbles. You want something real, something rooted, something that reflects divine intention. And that desire changes the way you show up in relationships. You become more intentional with your time, more selective with your energy, and more prayerful about your decisions. Spiritual growth brings clarity. It reveals what you need and removes what you no longer crave. You don't entertain distractions because you recognize destiny. You don't chase validation because you already know who you are in Christ. Your standards rise not because of ego, but because of elevation. God has lifted your perspective, and now you see through a different lens, a lens shaped by wisdom, love, and unwavering faith. As you continue to grow in Him, your standards will not only protect you, but will also attract what is truly meant for you. Before divine love enters your life, God often draws you closer to Himself. This is not a delay or a denial of love, but a divine invitation to intimacy. The kind of love God wants to bless you with is too sacred to be built on an unstable foundation. So He invites you first to build your life on Him. In this quiet space of communion with God, your heart begins to change. You are no longer desperate for someone to complete you because you realize you are already complete in Him. You stop searching outward and begin listening inward. The voice of God becomes clearer. The distractions become quieter, and your spirit becomes anchored. This season is where God prepares your heart for a love that reflects His nature. The world teaches that love should be pursued at all costs, even if it means losing yourself. But God teaches the opposite. He asks you to lose yourself in Him first, so that when love comes, it doesn't consume or confuse you. It complements you. The closeness you develop with God helps you discern what is real from what is counterfeit. It allows you to recognize a relationship that is truly from Him, because it won't pull you away from His presence. It will push you deeper into it. In the quiet moments with God, He redefines your understanding of love. You begin to see that real love is not about constant excitement or emotional highs. It is about patient sacrifice, trust, and peace. This closeness also brings healing. Many come into relationships carrying wounds from the past. Rejection, abandonment, betrayal. Without healing, those wounds bleed into every new connection, creating cycles of pain and disappointment. But God, in His mercy, doesn't want to give you a blessing that you are not emotionally or spiritually ready to carry. So He draws you to Himself to cleanse the pain, confront the fears, and restore your identity. In His presence, you no longer love from brokenness, but from wholeness. You no longer depend on another person to give you worth, because you've already received it from the Creator of your soul. The closer you get to God, the more clearly you can see what aligns with His will. You no longer chase relationships that are inconsistent with His character. You no longer compromise your values just to keep someone in your life. You have a peace that surpasses understanding, a joy that is not tied to circumstances, and a confidence that's not shaken by rejection. This kind of spiritual maturity is what prepares you for divine love. Because divine love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. When God sees that your heart is rooted in Him, He can trust you with someone else's heart. He knows you won't idolize love or lose yourself in the process. He knows you'll protect what He gives because you first learned how to protect your time with Him. In this sacred closeness, God shapes your desires, strengthens your spirit, and positions you to receive a love that honors Him, reflects Him, and endures through Him. When God is orchestrating something divine in your life, especially in the area of love, peace becomes the confirmation. It's not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, steady, and unmistakable. While the world encourages chasing, striving, and constantly questioning, God works differently. His presence brings peace that doesn't rely on external circumstances. You don't need to force what's from Him, because what He sends carries His signature trait: peace. It may not always come with fireworks or instant answers, but it settles your spirit in ways that human efforts never could. This kind of peace surpasses logic. You may not have everything figured out. The timeline might seem slow. The path ahead may be unclear. Yet deep in your soul, you sense that things are unfolding exactly as they should. You're not anxious, even though you don't have control. You're not panicking, even though you don't have all the pieces. That peace is God's way of saying, I'm in this. It is His quiet affirmation that you are aligned with His will, and that you don't need to worry about what's next. Peace doesn't mean everything is easy. It means you are being led, not driven. When a relationship is from God, it will bring rest to your soul, not chaos to your mind. You won't have to beg for clarity, manipulate outcomes, or constantly second-guess yourself. You'll be able to breathe. That's the kind of peace that comes when your heart is resting in God's plan. The moment you stop striving and start trusting, peace becomes your compass. It keeps you grounded when emotions try to pull you in every direction. Peace also acts as a filter. When something isn't right for you, no matter how attractive or promising it looks, there will be a lack of peace. You may feel confusion or a quiet sense of unease. That is not something to ignore. It's God's way of guarding your heart. Conversely, when something is right, it brings with it a holy stillness, even in the midst of uncertainty. Peace doesn't remove all challenges, but it reassures you that God is present in them. Many people miss their blessings because they follow pressure instead of peace. They chase what looks good, but feels wrong. They ignore the whispers of their spirit because they're too focused on the noise of the world. But when you start to value peace as the highest form of confirmation, you begin to navigate relationships and decisions with divine discernment. You no longer ask, "Does this make sense?" but instead, "Do I have peace?" That question becomes your compass. And God honors those who choose to walk by peace rather than impulse. God's peace is not just a feeling. It's a confirmation. It is the evidence that He is working, even if you don't see the full picture yet. It keeps you steady while He finishes what He started. When peace is present, it means God is too, and you can rest in knowing that His hand is guiding every step. There is a sacred rhythm to life that only God controls. While we often live by calendars, clocks, and deadlines, God operates in divine timing. When it comes to the fulfillment of promises, especially in areas as delicate and life-changing as love, His timing is never rushed, never delayed, and never flawed. We may want certain things now, believe we're ready, or feel impatient because nothing seems to be moving, but God sees what we cannot. He sees the full picture, the hearts involved, the maturity required, and the purpose behind every delay. His timing is designed not to frustrate you, but to protect you. What feels like waiting is often preparation. What feels like silence is often strategy. And what feels like delay is often divine design. When God makes a promise, He is faithful to fulfill it, but it will never happen on your schedule. He doesn't move just because you're tired of waiting. He moves when the time is right, when your character is ready, when your heart is healed, when the other pieces are in place. If He gives you the promise too soon, it can become a burden instead of a blessing. So, He waits. Not to punish you, but to mature you. Not to tease you, but to train you. And the longer the wait, the more valuable the outcome. Because while you're waiting, He's working. He's preparing the right person, opening the right doors, aligning the right circumstances, and refining your understanding of what real love truly means. Many try to force the promise through their own strength, only to end up exhausted, disappointed, or heartbroken. But when something is truly from God, it won't require manipulation, striving, or compromise. It will unfold naturally, beautifully, and peacefully in His appointed time. Trusting His timing means surrendering the need to control. It means letting go of your own deadlines and choosing to believe that He hasn't forgotten you. Even in seasons of silence, God is moving behind the scenes. Even in moments of stillness, His hand is shifting everything into place. The key is to remain faithful in the waiting. Keep growing. Keep praying. Keep becoming the kind of person who can receive and sustain the promise. Waiting on God is not passive. It's active faith. It's choosing to believe when there's no evidence. It's choosing to praise even when you don't see progress. It's choosing to prepare even when nothing appears close. Because in one divine moment, what you've waited years for come to life. And when it does, it will carry peace, clarity, and purpose. You'll look back and realize that God didn't make you wait to frustrate you. He made you wait to bless you in a way that exceeded your expectations. You'll understand that His timing wasn't just perfect, it was necessary.